All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into a really specific, really detailed interpretation of one of Scripture's most dramatic passages, the seven trumpets of the apocalypse.
Now, according to the source material we're looking at, this verse right here is the absolute key to understanding everything that comes next. We're talking about a series of divine judgments, and they're all carried out by one all-powerful figure.
So here's the big idea. What if this wasn't just a series of random disasters? What if the end of the world actually followed a precise script, a script for divine revenge? This interpretation argues that every single trumpet blast is part of a meticulously planned payback. Okay, let's get into how this whole thing supposedly unfolds.
Okay, so this is a really crucial point. We're not talking about just one event here. It's more like a set of Russian nesting dolls, but for judgment. You have the seven seals, and inside the seventh seal, you get the seven trumpets. And guess what's inside the seventh trumpet? The seven bowls of wrath. It's this whole cascading effect, and the ultimate goal, the whole point of all of this, to completely wipe out idolatry so that all praise goes where it's supposed to go. But hold on. Before all the chaos of the trumpets begins, this text points to something pretty surprising. It describes a period of peace. A calm before the storm, you could say. So what happens during this peace? Well, this is where 144,000 very important people come into the picture. According to this view, they're all born during this 13-year interlude, right after the Great Tribulation ends. They grow up, and right around age 13, they're sealed as servants of God. And wouldn't you know it, that's the exact moment the first trumpet is set to sound. Talk about timing, right? They're basically coming of age just in time to be key players in everything that's about to go down. All right, so now we're getting to the main event, the first four trumpets. And according to this text, these aren't just random acts of God. They happen in a quick succession, one after another, and they're all aimed at the natural world. Each disaster is supposedly a direct, tit-for-tat punishment for a very specific crime. First up, trumpet number 1. This is presented as pure payback. The crime? The burning of righteous men, who are called trees in a symbolic sense. So what's the punishment? You guessed it. Hail and fire mixed with blood come down and burn up a third of the actual trees on Earth. It's a very literal punishment for a symbolic crime, an eye for an eye, or in this case, a tree for a tree. And that pattern continues with the second trumpet, the same kind of mere justice. The crime here was an attack in Jerusalem, where half its people, a symbolic mountain of people, were abducted. So the punishment, well, it's a giant, burning, literal mountain getting chucked into the sea. This thing turns a third of the ocean to blood and just wrecks the ships and sea life.
Okay, the third trumpet gets really specific. The source material we're looking at points a finger directly at Russia. It says a Russian army, called a river, is sent against Jesus. The punishment for this is a bitter star falling from the sky named wormwood. It poisons a third of the rivers. And here's the kicker. The text makes a direct link between the name wormwood and the Russian word for Chernobyl.
And then we have trumpet number 4. This one takes the punishment to a cosmic level. The crime is a spiritual one, the silencing or censoring of Jesus, who's symbolized as the sun, the church, symbolized as the moon, and its leaders, the stars. The punishment? A third of the actual sun, moon, and stars get struck. They go dark. This literally shortens the day and night, and, according to this, actually speeds up the Earth's rotation. I mean, we're talking about altering the very fabric of time itself.
So, after that 4-part assault on nature itself, the focus of the punishment shifts. Now it turns directly towards humanity. The fifth trumpet is about to unleash a plague of a totally different and, frankly, much more terrifying kind. And get this, the whole point of this next plague isn't to kill people. Not yet. The goal is 5 months. 5 months of pure, inescapable torment, specifically for those who don't have the seal of God. So who's dishing out this punishment? Well, they're described as these horrifying hybrid creatures that come swarming out of the abyss. Imagine locusts that look like horses ready for battle, but they have human faces, lion's teeth, and scorpion tails. I mean, these things sound like they were literally engineered in a nightmare for maximum psychological and physical horror. And if that wasn't enough, this army has a king. According to the source, the king of these locusts is the angel of the abyss, a figure named Abaddon. And this figure is interpreted to be the beast, you know, the ancient monster Leviathan, the one who was, is not, and will come up out of the abyss. So we're not just talking about a random plague here. This is the reemergence of a seriously ancient and powerful entity leading a demon army from a cosmic prison.
Okay, let's catch our breath, because with the sixth trumpet, the scale of destruction is about to escalate dramatically.
So the sixth trumpet sounds, and it unleashes an army. And the size of this army is it's almost impossible to even picture. We're talking 200 million soldiers. And this text says they are all released from the Euphrates River.
And they have one mission, just one, to kill a third of all mankind.
So think about this. This isn't a natural disaster or some kind of plague. This is described as a direct, supernatural military assault on a global scale. An army of 200 million riders on these bizarre lion-headed horses, breathing fire, smoke, and sulfur, wiping out a third of the population. Just wow. But here's the part that is just absolutely mind-boggling. You'd think after seeing a third of the world's population wiped out by a supernatural army, people might reconsider their life choices, right? No. According to the text, the survivors, the ones who made it through this unimaginable slaughter, they still refuse to repent.
And that stubborn refusal to change, that right there is the critical turning point. This is what sets the stage for the final act. So let's recap where we are. A third of the world is dead. The survivors are completely unrepentant, still clinging to their old ways. So what happens next? Well, this is where those 144,000 people we talked about come back in. They're sent out on a new mission, to preach the gospel to what's left of the world. It's like one final chance for salvation is being offered. Right before the curtain falls and the final judgment, the seventh trumpet is unleashed.
And that's where this particular interpretation leaves us. It's a real cliffhanger, isn't it? We're standing on the edge of the final, most terrifying judgment of all. With a third of humanity already gone and the rest refusing to change their ways, you just have to ask, what could the final trumpet possibly unleash?